Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes. And possibly a little bit of useful information, but I wouldn't count on it.
Well, I'm here, so.
Well, yeah, you're better at providing the useful information than I am. There we go. One of the problems with StreamYard is I can't, well, actually, it's a YouTube problem that I can't mute the YouTube until after the stream has started. So I always start out with an echo there. So in the side chat, we've got Spooky Bed Hair, Stephanie, Greg Hartwick, and Hoppy Bunny. Thanks all for joining us. Oh. I'm still trying to pop my back in place.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody had a good holiday.
Yeah, so do I.
Well, our show only sucks because our other co-host is missing. You know, she was the lively one. She was adding all the good stuff. And Mark Caesar's lurking.
All right. So we have International Day of Pandemic Preparedness Day, huh?
Yep. And in the event that we have an international epidemic or pandemic, you know, I know we're 3 years late, but everybody knows procrastinating is the only thing I'm good at.
Well, it looks like this whole thing actually started as a result of the pandemic we had. Looking at the history of it.
It's kind of funny because for 10 years before, everybody was always talking about their zombie apocalypse survival plans. But then when we actually had something happen, half the people didn't want to bother to take precautions.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm actually quite worried about the next pandemic that we have, because people are going to be less likely to take precautions.
Yeah, that's I'm afraid of is that a significant proportion of the population won't take it seriously. Regios is here. So the Christmas marathon went really well. We, had a bunch of new people. We had several hosts that I didn't even know last year. Oh, and it finally got me over 600 subs.
Yay!
Yeah, that's only taken 3 years since I got to 500 subs.
I had picked up a few subs, even though I said not to subscribe to my Mage Grey Wolf channel. I ended up getting about 10 people subscribing, and I got another 7 people who on my gardening channel.
Oh, good. I'm glad you got a little boost from it.
Now, there's a trick I need to do, maybe. Tell people not to subscribe, and they get more people subscribing.
It has worked for other people. Of course, the queen of that was Shannon Q, who didn't even start producing content until after she got 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I got 51 subscribers on this Mage Grey Wolf account, and I don't even really do anything with it. What are you subscribing to this for? I'm not putting out content here.
But you're You got some plans for it now about reviewing popular media?
That's gonna be a new channel I'm gonna create.
Ah, okay.
Just need to come up with a good name. Successful and great marathon, yes.
Yep, it went off very well. Couple of minor problems, but that's always going to happen when you're trying to coordinate that many people.
Yeah.
Keeping the time zone straight definitely broke my brain when you're trying to coordinate people on 4 different continents.
Yeah, that'll do it. Why can't we just have a single time that we can work for the entire globe?
It has been proposed. It would have to be something that would be pushed by the UN, and then the US would opt out of it anyway, just like the metric system.
Probably.
It would only be acceptable if they stuck with it being midnight in New York being the standard time. Even then, the people in California would probably bitch about it. Well, technically, there's no vertical limit. So the moon time zones are based on which part of the planet it is currently directly over. Yeah, the moon's a really nice place, but it's like a cheap restaurant. There's no atmosphere.
Yeah. Oh, like I was saying, before we went on, I found the Zombie Pandemic Preparedness 101 from the CDC.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that was a real thing and not somebody's parody of the CDC.
Nope, it's a real thing. You can download it from the CDC itself. It's a PDF.
Oh, yeah, I think we're going to have to take a look at that. You want to bring that up?
Yep, getting to it right now. Here we are. It's the Zombie Pandemic Preparedness. It's actually a comic book they made.
Yeah. Yeah, and before the actual pandemic, for 10 years, people were all talking about their plans for a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, and the whole point of this thing is to use the zombie apocalypse to prepare for other types of pandemics.
Yeah.
And emergencies.
Yeah, I actually figured in a zombie apocalypse, I'd be less worried about the zombies than I would be worried about some of the other people who had survived. I
Yeah,
think it'd be a bigger threat.
Yeah, that's often a theme in most zombie apocalypse movies. It's usually the people that are the bigger threat. The zombies are more of a backdrop.
Yeah, also I haven't seen zombies in the snow, so I'm taking it that they wind up being like cold-blooded and like go into hibernation or something if it gets too cold, which means up in Minnesota they'd only be a seasonal issue.
Yes, in fact, that's actually how they handled them in the Walking Dead comic book.
I saw like the first 3 or 4 seasons of the show. I didn't see any of the comics.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they introduced that in the show itself, but it was definitely in the comic books. They showed that the zombies go more dormant during the winter, which makes sense.
And Skitcrasher and Canadian Alley Man.
Seeing as this is a free comic book that's released to the public, we can actually look over the whole thing if we want to, without having to worry about copyright strikes and all that.
It might work, unfortunately, on YouTube. you always have some asshole creators that will try to claim a copyright on anything they used, even if it was public domain. But let's have a look.
Yeah, let's see. You get to make the next move. This is just kind of going over the whole zombie thing. And try. Stay tuned, channel. Nightly news. Let's see here. Zombie virus. He's just finding out about the zombie thing. So the first thing he does here is he goes over a checklist of canned goods. Just make sure he's got all the stuff here.
Yep. Fresh water is probably going to be your biggest problem. You know, if society shuts down, you're not going to be able to have tap water anymore. So a source of fresh water is going to be your biggest issue.
Oh, that's actually not that big of a deal. You can boil water in that case.
Yeah, assuming you've got something to keep the fire going.
No, you would need to be able to make a fire, which again shouldn't be that big of a deal. But there's plenty of ways of making fire, and you may have at least a limited source of propane in stoves or a grill or something. Another thing you can do is if you take sand and charcoal in like a stocking, that can make a filter. So you can actually take really scummy water, like pond water, pour it through that filter, or filter it out, and then boil the rest of it. You'll have drinkable water.
Well, another way to do it that requires a lot less energy is if you filter it like you say, and then just put just a couple of drops of chlorine bleach into it and let it sit, because the chlorine will gas out.
Mm-hmm.
And the real trick is, do it with very small amounts, usually like with an eyedropper, because you only need like 3 parts per million to kill off all of the bacteria and pathogens. And if you have too much of it, of course, it can make you sick.
The only thing with that is you want to wait about 24 hours before you use it.
Right, that's what I was saying. You have to let sit and let it gas out. So you need to let sit in a container that does not have a tight lid to make sure it can gas out. I would recommend, putting it like in a pitcher or something, and like putting a piece of window screen over it, to make sure no insects get into it.
Okay, this is actually a good point. Having enough food for your pets. You see a dog looking at the dog food thing.
Oh, directly related to this is people should start preparing that we could go through a period of some shortages and price increases very soon here, because unfortunately, with the business going on in Israel, a group allied with Hamas has started attacking ships that are coming through the Red Sea to go to the Suez Canal.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, so as a result of this, a lot of major companies don't think it's worth the risk and are rerouting their ships to go around Africa, which is like more than a full week delay for most of the cargo ships, which means the cargo ships can't do as fast a turnaround, so they're not going to be getting as much stuff into the supply chain.
Also,
and that was one of the first things I thought about, was to make sure I've got at least an extra month's worth of cat food and cat litter on hand. Because that was a problem during the other pandemic, that I couldn't get cat litter for a while.
Yeah, and also with the extra time getting there, it's going to take more fuel, which means increased prices that way as well.
Yeah. Well, the fuel is less of an issue of the fact that since the ships are going to be delayed, they're just not going to be able to do as fast a turnaround, so there'll be fewer shipments coming in. And that's going to cause the shortages, and of course, anytime something is selling out, the price is going to be increased.
Yeah, that's true. There's multiple reasons that you could see price increase on top of the already artificially inflated prices we've got, which will probably give them more excuses to artificially inflate the other things that aren't being affected. Assholes.
Well, when we're talking about cargo ships, there's virtually nothing that won't be affected one way or the other. Because it's either the supplies going out one way to produce things or the finished products coming back.
Mm. Now let's see, I've got this guy's checklist here: water, food, flashlight, battery powered or hand crank radio. Actually, I believe I have all of these things so far. Extra batteries, first aid kit, medication and medical items, multi-purpose tool, uh, sanitation and personal hygiene items, copies of personal document, and cell phone with chargers. It's good to have like a solar charger for this,
Mm-hmm.
or a charger that you can plug into your car.
Yep.
Because if the power goes down, you're not going to be able to use an outlet. Family and emergency contact information, extra cash, emergency blanket, maps of areas. That's an interesting one because you might not be able to access online maps.
Yeah. Although GPS should continue working as long as the satellites are there.
Medical supplies, hearing aids with extra batteries. You got it. Glasses, contact lenses, syringes, so forth. Baby supplies, bottles, formula, baby food, diapers. I didn't see this guy have a baby, so I was kind of wondering why that would even be on his list. Games and activities for children. That's actually a good one to point out because it might not be something you'd be thinking of recreation. I know going through hurricanes, recreation items are usually very low priority.
Gee, I guess I need to buy more Lego.
I usually keep myself entertained with a book.
Yep.
Pet supplies, collar, leash, ID, food, carrier, bowl. Yeah, having extra food on hand for your pets is definitely could be an issue.
It is something people don't think about, but you should have a bug out bag in case of an emergency, and you should have a bug out bag for your pets.
Yeah, I've been meaning to put together a bug out bag for quite some time. I just haven't gotten around to it. I do have enough supplies. I could probably start putting something together though. Extra stuff.
Yeah. Well, we've done fire drills with the cats. So as far as making sure that we get them into their carriers and get them out of the building.
Mm.
And if it's just something like a fire that just affects our building, I have extra supplies for them in an off-site storage.
Yeah, I've got Molly trained to go into a crate on command.
Well, that's the last time they were testing the fire alarms. I was brushing Sammy and trying to get him used to the idea that if he ever hears that, instead of trying to hide in his little corner, that if he just comes up to me, that he'll get brushing, which is his favorite thing. So hopefully that'll work if the fire alarm ever goes off.
That's a good idea, because I know the fire alarm is going to freak a dog or a cat out.
It does, and that's my big problem is that, of course, they're gonna hide off in some little spot that they think is inaccessible when they're scared like that.
Yeah. Extra sets of car keys and house keys. It's not a bad idea. Manual can opener. I can't really read the rest of this on this list. Looks like a medical mask is in the bottom there.
Unfortunately, that's something I've done here is that a spare set of house keys isn't an option for us because they've got this electronic lock on the front door that instead of a key it's the magnetic fob, and they did that specifically so people can't duplicate it, and yeah, only one per apartment.
Yeah, the thing with that could also be a problem with that is cost, because I know like if I need to get an extra key for my car, that's gonna run me about $100 at least.
Yeah. Yeah, if your key is chipped, it's $70 to $100 minimum. Because they tried to make that so that only the dealers could duplicate them. Yeah, I still do not understand why in the first pandemic, toilet paper became the big issue. You know, it's like if one of the symptoms had been diarrhea, it would have made sense. But
Oh, that actually started in another country where they were trying to turn the toilet paper into masks
oh,
and create a shortage in in that country, and it kind of just spread from there.
okay, I hadn't heard about that one. So, but yeah, again, you know, now if there's a possibility of shortages, you should stock up on the toilet paper because the reason that the toilet paper sold out is the factories that produce it, since it's basically they can very well predict the normal sales of it. The factories that produce that are pretty much running 24/7 and don't have, you know, any extra capacity
Mm.
because they don't want to produce more of it ahead of time because it's, you know, bulky and takes up a lot of storage space. So
Yeah.
when the demand suddenly goes up for it, they can't really increase production.
What are you whimpering about, Molly? Oh, belly rubs.
Yes, you need to make a blanket for it to keep all the scary stuff out.
I'm busy here,
Unfortunately,
Molly.
spooky at the end, that's where I was stuck with, is that, you know, I would have been fine, you know, just to buy as much as I needed each month, but because it became so scarce, I wound up having to buy extra, and I was literally mailing toilet paper to people in other states who couldn't get it. Extra weed.
Recreational item there, huh?
Well, it is a good way to kill time. You're just kinda not aware of the time passing if you got good stuff.
Yeah. Well, if anybody wants to get this comic book for themselves,
Oh, yeah, you should put the link out there for where they can download it.
make sure I got the right one here. Yeah, that's the right one.
Yeah, in the Midwest, we don't have to deal with hurricanes. Excuse me, we have tornadoes, but unlike hurricanes, tornadoes don't, like, give you a couple days warning. But, tornadoes, it's just like, yeah, they pop up and you can be hit anywhere from minutes to, at very most, you may have, like, an hour warning.
They're preparing looks like a bug out bag here. And it's quite surprising how sturdy the car window actually is.
Yeah, the safety glass on cars, um, mostly if it's being hit with anything blunt, it'll hold. You know, if it's hit with something that has more of a point to concentrate the force on a very small area is what you actually need to break one.
Yeah.
So ironically, it's easier to break a car window with a center punch than it is with a hammer.
Yeah, that's true. I was watching this one video, the guy, he took a sledgehammer to a car window. This is a regular car window. Now it broke like, the first time he did it. He replaced the window and put a screen on it. You know the sun filter or to cover it. You know that lamination. And he hit
Yeah.
it again with the sledgehammer and didn't break.
Yeah, when I was in high school, a popular charity thing, you know, is that they'd pull out a car that they had stripped for parts, you know, and like for $1 each, everybody could take a swing at it with a sledgehammer. And one of the things was a betting pool on how many blows was it going to take to smash the windshield, because it would rarely go on the first hit.
Which kind of gives you an idea of just how much BS this Elon Musk's cybercar window thing is.
Yeah. Well, when I hit the deer, it didn't even crack the windshield. The windshield was completely intact. Hey, Al. And of course, yeah, that during an epidemic or pandemic, you kind of need a safe place to hunker down. Which, again, it shows that people didn't take it seriously, because all these preppers who had, built their bomb shelters and their escape places, none of them went to those.
Oh, here's a little checklist you can get. Looks like you can probably water, food, flashlight. Notice how water is on the very top of the list there.
Yep. Well, because you can survive about a week without food. You can only survive 2 or 3 days without water. My problem would probably be running out of tea bags.
I've still got more tea that I know what to do with.
I've been very annoyed at our local grocery store, because the generic tea bags I use to make my iced tea, they have been out of stock for like a month. And no explanation why. There's just an empty space on the shelf.
Never gotten generic tea, really.
Well, for the iced tea, where I'm going to be adding sugar to it and all, the cheap tea is just as good for it.
Don't drink iced tea.
Yeah, and basically my complaint is that since they don't have the real cheap tagless bags, I have to buy another generic brand, but they all come in individual envelopes, and that's just creating a lot more waste that I don't need. So it's like I'm paying for all these paper envelopes that are just going in the recycling, and it's like, I don't want to generate more waste than I have to.
Well,
Yeah.
Also,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, also this whole being prepared for a pandemic and all that is partly why I started my gardening in the first place.
Yeah.
I saw the shortages, and I figured, okay, we don't have a supply chain issue, but we're getting all these shortages is just because of the panic. Now,
Mhm.
imagine having that panic along with the supply chain issue.
Yep. The whole thing of drinking your own pee is really a bad idea.
Yeah, that's not a good idea at all.
Yeah.
Pee is not sterile, as some people like to claim.
Well, it's very simple logic. This is the stuff your body was getting rid of in the first place, because it was going to have a bad effect if it stayed inside for too long.
Yeah. You can use pee in your compost and garden.
Well, it does add a lot of nitrogen.
Yeah, I started looking into what weeds are growing wild that I could eat. That way,
Mhm.
in the emergency, I can just go out, find those plants, and eat that.
Yep.
And then that's what and I noticed the cherry tomato plant growing off the side of my house there, and that kind of kicked off. Okay, why don't we just start growing food too?
I was doing the same thing when I lived up in Michigan. just growing up with my grandpa, I already knew some of the things that grow wild in the forest that were safe to eat. Because when he went hiking in the forest, he didn't bring anything with him, and he could make lunch out of just what he'd find. Don't drink Nerdy's pee, you'll get Wheels disease. I don't know what that is.
I'm busy, Molly. Molly's bringing me her toy, wanting attentions. Okay, how about a hug? Get a hug? Don't lick the headset. Getting visited by a doggies here, who's playful and wants to play when I can't play right now.
Well, yeah, Buck. For Sammy, this is leg day. Because he knows on Wednesdays I'll be sitting still so he can lay on my legs for several hours.
It's a leptospirosis, classically known as Wheels disease. This is a severe infection. Manifestation include fever, renal failure, jaundice, hemorrhage, hemorrhages, and respiratory distress. Who just popped in?
Stephanie.
Stephanie, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, as Al's saying, as a diabetic, I recommend keeping diabetic meds, foods, and special testing equipment ready. Yeah, which is, whatever medications you have, you should try to have a couple of months extra on hand. And yes, the urine will work if you distill it, so that you're getting just the water and you're getting rid of all of the minerals and other things that are in it.
Yeah, not much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure how to pronounce Udhanov Huchu. I don't know. I really don't know how to pronounce that. So I don't even know what to call you that I can pronounce, but yeah. Yeah, people make plans for step 148 of surviving a disaster, but rarely take steps of 1, 2, or 3. And yeah, Mage, that's where I think you're way ahead of the crowd. Is that, with the gardening, you have some long-term viability for how to get food. And most people won't know what to do when their canned food runs out. So, Stephanie, what's going on with you?
Well, I'm recovering from whatever bit me. So that's good.
Whatever bit you?
Yeah, I had an intestinal bug over the course of the past couple of days.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, Christmas was not the greatest.
Yeah, you seem to be kind of out of it on the live streams.
The sluices opened up at both ends, and it was not pretty.
Ooh.
So. But I'm better.
Well, I'm glad you're recovering.
Yep.
Yeah, Doorknob had before the stream I slept most of the previous 12 hours, so I
Yeah,
had a decent catching up.
yeah. I slept most of yesterday, and I didn't even put my alarm on last night, so I just slept through until I woke up.
Yeah, well, I had set an alarm just to make sure I woke up an hour and a half before the stream started, just to make sure I could have everything in order for this.
And
Sammy was getting worried about me because usually when I sleep that much, it means I'm sick. So he was concerned.
yeah, I had a nice little headache to finish off the night last night, but that's at least gone.
Yeah, toward the end of the Christmas stream, I got a migraine and it's subsiding after the sleep. I still have a bit of it. I often refer to those as 3-day migraines, as that's how long they usually last.
Mm. Yeah, I just took some ibuprofen and soaked in a hot tub, and just laid down and slept. Probably mostly just lack of sleep.
Yeah. And Sloth Girl had a good holiday over at her daughter's.
That's good.
Yep. It is a problem when I'm doing the marathons, that don't want to leave her to be alone for things either. She doesn't join in as much on the live streams. Yeah, my brain's still not all here. I'm very easily distracted, and between one sentence and the next, I can lose what I was talking about.
Squirrel.
Yep.
That's why I
Which
got Molly.
actually, I've got an appointment next week to be reevaluated again, too. Because it's always been that I keep winding up on the borderline for the ADHD, but it's hard to differentiate between the ADHD and sleep deprivation.
Mm.
So I've got a new evaluation for that next week.
Yeah, squirrel's what I got Molly for Christmas. This little plush squirrel that doesn't have any stuffing, so when she shredded it, I didn't have fluff all over the house. I just
Mhm.
have bits of squirrel over the house.
At least it's not a real squirrel, so you don't have blood and guts scattered.
Yeah. She definitely loved that. Destroyed it in less than an hour, unfortunately, but still.
Oh, my bag.
And of
Yeah,
course,
I'm
after
still
she.
dragging ass a little bit, but
Uh,
getting better. Hopefully better by tomorrow.
Yeah.
of course, after she shredded it, she handed me part of the head.
Oh, she wants to share with you. She's not greedy.
It's like I'm just kind of sitting there holding it, looking at it, like going, I'm glad this isn't a real squirrel.
Well, cats do it the other way around. One of the feral cats in New York that, never got tame enough for me to pet him, but I was sharing my workshop with. When I put a cat flap on the garage door, he presented me with a headless bat in agreement that we could share the space.
Yeah.
Guapo was the champion about that. Guapo was bringing me mice all the time, and only half of the time were they dead. So yeah, I had a lot of episodes of trying to quickly move the furniture around to capture what he had brought in.
Well, he just wants you to learn how to hunt.
Yep. One day I came home to find a bird in the bathroom flapping around trying to get out the window.
You want to put up your image of the kitty?
I was getting there. Yeah, this
There we
is
go.
Sammy's favorite Christmas present. I got him a new cat bed, and I put it up there, and at first I couldn't get him to go into it because that's how Sammy is. He's so worried about getting yelled at that he won't try new things. So then I put a handful of catnip into it, and he had the catnip and slept it off in there. And yeah, now he finally realized how soft and squishy the whole thing is. So that's his new favorite spot.
He looks quite comfy.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and he's in there right now. He's just, since it's daylight, he's got his head turned away from the window now.
Most of the time I was sleeping yesterday, I slept on the couch, so Molly got to cuddle with me.
Yeah, I've slept
Aw.
mostly in my chair. Sammy was up on my legs for most of it.
Oh, nice.
I haven't known a dog that was affected by catnip. And actually,
Oh.
most people don't know, but about 10 to 20% of cats are not affected by it.
Huh.
I had thought that Tasha was somehow unique because it's like I had seen that the catnip, the other cat, would get completely stoned, and Tasha just had no interest in it. So I was joking that she was the just say no poster child. But then I learned that, yeah, some cats just don't feel the effect.
Let's see. Dogs are affected by the them's 200 million scent receptors, but catnip doesn't affect them like it does felines, since dogs respond in the same way to these pheromones. Many have no response or may have experienced some mild sedation at most.
Okay, Doorknob Head is thinking that you're going to get fined if you don't put up a picture of Molly now. You got to show the pup.
Have to show the
Yeah.
mm,
Them's just the internet rules.
Let's see
Yep,
what I got
Yep.
here.
You got to show the floofs.
All right, let's see what I can find here.
Yeah, we've got the fog again here. Not quite as thick as it was yesterday, but
That's not
still,
right.
I'm glad I don't have to be out driving in this.
I had some fog last night.
Well, yesterday it was so thick I could only see the outline of the building across the street.
Well, when you've got fog like this, you need a chart like that.
Well, yeah, if you're
Yes.
going to be out on the water.
Yeah.
Okay,
There you
there's the boopable.
Getting pets. Happy doggy face. Molly's second birthday cake, or for her second birthday, a friend of mine got that for her.
Cool.
Molly enjoying her cake.
What was the cake made out of?
Peanut butter.
Ah,
Dog's life peanut butter. It was from a dog bakery.
Yep.
And it was made in a way that was actually human edible too, but it didn't exactly taste too good.
That's okay. It was made for the dogs.
Yep. So instead of getting her wet dog food, I was giving her pieces of the cake instead with her afternoon dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I love that one.
Yeah. Goofy grin. Okay, Mage, can you handle things for a bit? I've got to go up and help Sloth Girl for a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, be back as soon as I can.
All right. So what we have here. Peanut butter and assorted scrap meat. Yeah, basically. Well, actually, it was dry dog food and the peanut butter or cake that I was giving her. But yeah, works out either way.
Oh, goodness. More tea. Need more tea.
Yeah, I meant to get might make some hibiscus tea for this, but instead I went with eggnog.
Ah. Did eggnog on Christmas, and I think that's what did me in.
Oh,
Just not quite properly done. I think there might have been a bad egg in there.
Oh, that's not good.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, if you're doing homemade eggnog, that can be tricky.
Mm.
Though most store-bought eggnogs nowadays don't actually contain egg.
Yep. I just wanted to go the traditional route, so I got the traditional risk.
See. What else we got here? What, did I stop paying attention to you for 2 seconds, Molly? I'm getting whined at.
Ah. Yeah, I stayed away from the traditional whiskey. Except I did have one celebratory whiskey at one point in time.
Yeah. I had a glass of chocolate wine and a glass of Bailey's Irish Cream.
Mm.
More alcohol than it's more drinks than I usually have, but yeah. I usually only have a glass of something on Fridays, but yeah, holiday season, why not? And getting more hugs from Molly.
Nice.
She's being very clingy and affectionate and wanting attention right now for some reason.
The traditional booze and eggnog trial. Trial? Huh.
How do you nog an egg?
Give it a noggy. I like it.
Well, I suppose if you're making the homemade stuff to reduce the risk, adding alcohol would probably be helpful.
Yeah, possibly harmful in other ways, though.
Depending on your tolerance to alcohol.
Yeah.
Ultimate booze and eggnog trial link there. So,
I wonder
what's this?
I don't know.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's definitely an ultimate trial. Well, I won't play the video, but I'll pull it up here. Just. Got the theater mode. Oh, jeez.
What do you got?
The video Mark put up here.
Okay.
He's basically saying he's gonna put all of this into his eggnog.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Is that like some sort of blue liqueur on the extreme left there? That looks like, I don't know about that. I think that's weird. That would be very, very weird.
I'm not even sure all of these would go together or on their own.
Well,
Fireball whiskey.
the coconut rum, I don't know as I'd do that. The fireball, I definitely don't think I'd do that.
The fireball and the coconut rum together might be good on its own.
That might be.
Bacardi, Jameson. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking for a hangover with that.
You're looking at something.
Looks like some kind of Baileys. That doesn't look like the regular Baileys. That looks like maybe a specialty flavored Baileys.
Mm.
In a green bottle between. Oh, geez, that's Everclear sitting next to.
Ah.
That alone
Really?
would be enough to.
The Everclear? Yeah, that would certainly do something. Mark's saying that the Fireball had a high rating. That's very interesting. Oh no.
I do like Fireball whiskey. It's pretty good. The
Everclear was a fail. Yeah, I would think so. It wouldn't fail to make you a little woozy, I think.
You know, the joke, 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila, floor. Well, with Everclear, it's just floor. Let's see. Well, maybe we'll check this out after the stream.
Oh, goodness.
Well, the Everclear is fairly close.
So, what are we doing to for an epidemic? Are we preparing for another well, we're in the middle of the same old epidemic, I'm afraid. At least we are around here.
Well, technically we're at an endemic now, past the pandemic phase. But that doesn't exactly make it any better.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of it in the effluent up in this neck of the woods right now. So I'm using the old go mask thing at the moment. Not go anywhere. So I've already had COVID twice, and I don't want it a third time.
As far as I know, have not caught it yet.
Yeah, I had the original series sucked.
Yeah.
Second time around wasn't quite as bad, but the original one was, because I got it really early and nobody knew what it was.
Oh yeah, I know a few people who got that. Though I'm kind of wondering if maybe I had it and just had an asymptomatic case, or if I just am resistant to it for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like January. It was not good. I've never been that sick.
Though I think with the my lower tolerance to respiratory infection would hit me pretty hard.
Yeah.
Because growing up, I had bronchial asthma, so I had bronchitis almost every year.
Oh yeah.
Kind of did some damage.
Okay, I'm back.
Hey, welcome back.
Well, the new meds are helping Sloth grow as far as the cancer hasn't been spreading. It has totally wonked her sleep schedule. So she was just waking up now and could not find her glasses. Which, that's always kind of a catch-22 thing. Now, if you can't find your glasses, you can't see well enough to find your glasses.
That is a problem.
Yeah, so she just needed a more focusing set of eyes. So, yeah, I heard the last bit you were talking about, Mage, about having bronchitis every year.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things I point to, that really showed that the mask worked was during the pandemic is the first time in my adult life that I went multiple years in a row without getting strep throat.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
for
have
me,
I didn't have the problem with the allergies, seasonal allergies with the mask.
yeah, for me, it was just the thing I expected that, sometime in November or the beginning of December, I would have strep throat every year. But I went 3 years in a row without getting it because we were wearing the masks.
Yeah, there you go. There's a good deal less cultural resistance to wearing a mask in China because the air pollution is so goddamn bad there.
Also, Japan.
Yeah.
Even if you look at animes from like the 80s, you'll see characters wearing masks if they're sick.
Yep. I was trying to play into their conspiracy bullshit, and I tried to promote the idea that wearing the mask would foil the facial recognition software that the deep state used to track us.
Yeah, I remember going into the grocery store's liquor store with the mask, and I've also my glasses on because lighting, being get some liquor. So the guy asks for ID. You're like, how would you even know?
Well,
I
there's
asked
the
the same
deep
thing
state.
at the liquor store.
There's the deep state, but what about the shallow state?
Yeah. One of the things I found weird about the pandemic was that the state of Minnesota declared liquor stores to be essential retail, so they were exempt from most of the regulations. They didn't have to shut down.
Well,
Well,
on some level, I can actually agree with that.
I can kind of get it, yeah. But it's just kind of a weird note about our society.
It's no longer the case in Massachusetts. The blue laws since the blue laws have gone away. That used to be you couldn't sell booze on Sunday in a package store, and you never could sell booze anywhere other than in a liquor store or a package store. Except for a pharmacy, you could buy booze in a pharmacy on Sunday.
Okay.
For medicinal purposes, of course.
Yeah, well, in Minnesota, we had that liquor stores couldn't be open on a Sunday here until a referendum passed in 2018.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's only been 5 years here that the liquor stores have been able to be open on Sundays.
I remember GameStop trying to say that they were an essential business because they were selling some food items.
Yeah, and I kind of get why they had to exempt the pharmacies from the liquor laws there, Steph. Because, traditionally so many medications included alcohol, especially things like cough syrup. I think they could have done it in a better way than that and not necessarily include them, selling beer and whatever other they're allowed to there. Where I lived in Michigan was ridiculous. It's like every store there, every gas station sold hard liquor. And it wasn't a wonder that for like 8 to 10 years running, that county's only claim to fame was the highest rate of alcoholism in the country.
Well, there you go. That's something. As.
Yeah, well, that's where my family comes from.
Nice.
So yeah, that's another reason I had to get out of there. I knew it was inevitable I'd be an alcoholic if I was stuck there much longer. And it has definitely worked, but since we moved to Minnesota, my alcohol consumption is down to about a third of what it was while we were living there. Because there just aren't as many things to get me stressed out here. Also, there's actually occasionally things to do in the evening.
Mm.
But the
Go to
biggest thing is it was a
movies.
very closed up town, and if anybody had found out I was an atheist, I'd get lunch just for that,
Yeah, that
without even
is.
getting into the the multiple areas on the queer spectrum that I hit.
Yeah, that's been a concern about mine. Living around here because I've got a lot of Trumpians in the neighborhood. Don't know if they actually knew I was an atheist. Who knows?
Well, even here, I wound up in a heavily red district, but the state overall is more liberal. So, I get some disapproving glares, but nobody's being too upfront about it. Although
Also,
there were a lot of Trump signs here.
Also, it kind of sucks that more and more things have been moving away from the city, so I have to travel further to get to where I actually want. It's like almost become like everything interesting is like 20 miles out.
Yeah, well, here it's a small city, and the lines are completely blurred that nobody really knows where the city lines is and where we're into the suburbs. So we still wind up with everything pretty close at hand. All the shopping's like within 5 miles.
I probably would go to the movies more often, but they've jacked up the prices for tickets so much it's not really worth it anymore. And it's also a bigger risk of getting sick. I mean, last few times I was seriously sick was probably from going to a movie theater.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with the theater just for people being packed too closely together, and I don't see that much in the movies that I can't wait till they come out on the streaming services.
Yeah, I was gonna go see the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie that came out because I wanted to support them because they actually listened to the fans. They made the changes to Sonic. I wanted to support that behavior, so I was gonna go see it in the movie theater. And unfortunately, that's right when the pandemic is coming into my area. I'm like, okay, let's see, we got some cases of the pandemic in the area. Yeah, I better stop. They're not. So I end up going to the liquor store and purchasing some rum.
Yeah, Doorknob Head, actually, I seriously think this would be a good idea.
I think so too.
Have a number of people could call for support when they're getting out of the MAGA mindset.
Yeah. Well, yeah. For step one, turn off the news.
And we have a purpose.
Who really should have crushed her hair before stepping out of the shower.
It's okay.
Actually, you look cute that way.
It doesn't look too bad.
Okay, so what's the topic? Oh wait, I should have checked what the topic was, but I know we're well off that by now. So.
Oh yeah, we're beyond the topic.
Epidemic preparedness. That would have been a great topic 2 years ago. Sorry, 4 years ago now.
Yeah. Well, actually,
that's why I said in the description that people know the only thing I'm good at is procrastinating.
Yeah, in fact, the whole creation of this day was because of the pandemic we had 4 years ago.
Well, we're overdue for that type of pandemic. They usually happen about once a century.
Yeah,
and honestly, if you're a gamer, you need to play Baldur's Gate. It's awesome.
With people jumping between continents on a daily basis, it was inevitable that something like that would happen.
It certainly hit the 20th century right around the same period of its progress.
Well, that's a good. That's a good point, Doorknobhead, but I don't think we're going to get a strong coastal wind in the Midwest.
Okay. Now we need an artist who's going to draw us all as anime characters.
I'm sure someone's already done it if you have enough fans, or at least the right kind of fans. But do you
Yeah,
really want-
unfortunately, I've gotten very little fan art.
But do you really want the thing Surus had happen to him?
Well, especially if you go on Cirrus's Discord to see the stuff that he can't show on stream.
I mean, I think most of us would like to have Surus's followers, but
Yeah. But some of the fan art Cirrus is getting is downright pornographic.
I'm not at all surprised.
Well, there you go.
Hi, Athena. Can I help you?
So
Yes, Athena.
how was your Christmas, Sinister?
I stayed here. Like I said, mostly it was done. Mostly the Christmas stuff was done the day I graduated, so because it was just easier to do it then.
Yeah.
And I went mini golfing in Indy the day before New Year's Eve. And I went to a ramen place.
Wait, the day before New Year's Eve hasn't happened.
The day
yet.
before Christmas Eve.
Well-
Okay.
Okay.
I was going to say that the time travel thing would be fascinating.
No,
I was gonna
if you're
ask how to do
pagan,
that.
New Year's Eve was the winter solstice.
That's only if you're the neo-Wiccan variety.
No, actually, there's
Reconstructionists do not celebrate New Year's on winter solstice.
What do you know? I put in strong coastal wind into Amazon search, and I got an MP3 music thing.
Nice. I guess.
but
I
no,
also got this set of cards as one of my Christmas gifts.
Nice.
They're the critical thinking cards.
critical thinking cards.
Yeah, they have cognitive biases
That
and
sounds
logical
interesting.
fallacies, and
That sounds interesting. I gotta see. Maybe I should get a set of those.
I think you can get them for your logicalfallacyis.com.
Ah.
Hi, Athena. Can I help you?
Of course, you
Mhm.
can pet her.
Kitty, do you want some catnip?
Now we know what Kitty got for Christmas.
Actually, Kitty got some Shiba cat food, but with a different flavor.
Purple's
Thank you.
kitty got a kitty bed.
Yep, Sammy's son got a new bed, and he was reluctant to use it at first, so I just put a handful of catnip in it, and
Why would,
after that, he's good with it.
why would I need to get Athena a bed? She has my bed.
Well, I know Sammy likes this bed because he likes it so much that he doesn't come up on my lap quite as often. And before, every time I came in the door, he would rush over to the treat dish begging. And now sometimes when I come in, he just kind of lifts up his head and just decides that, nah, I'm too comfortable. I don't care about the treats.
Athena, your bird toy is over there. Go get it. Or keep biting my hand. One of those two. Everyone is impressed with your butt, Athena.
Hey, Maya.
Cat bot.
Lady Maya is in the chat. Yay.
Yeah, I got some sleep, so I'm kind of recharged. Didn't fully make up for all of it, but I'm pretty good now.
Maya, the rescue streamer.
Yep, and look at the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steph overslept for her stream, and Maya picked it up.
I overslept and I had the sluices unglued on both ends, so it was a rough go. Not good. Better now.
Hey, I always tell people to sleep whenever you can. nothing I'm doing is more important than getting some decent rest.
Yeah. I mean, it was so confusing too because the computer wasn't working properly. It's a porpoise was there. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? It's like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but if you don't describe the problem, we can't help you.
I know. I understand that.
The thing
Well,
they're supposed to be doing is not doing it.
Steph,
Yeah,
that's what brought you in last year. Was that
Yeah.
Beck was supposed to stream, and a couple hours before his stream, his computer wasn't behaving. So we had to bring Beck in at 3 hours notice, or bring Steph in at 3 hours notice to cover part
Yeah,
of Beck's
and-
time slot.
And that was the very first time I ever streamed on my own equipment, just doing the
Yeah.
hosting thing and stuff. I mean, that
So
was
neither you nor Beelzebub
so
were
it's all
scheduled.
your fault, Purple. If people want to kick me off the internet, I'm gonna tell them go see Purple Rhymes with Orange because she got me stuck into this thing.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
just
think you can be
on
kicked
a
off
couple
the
hours' notice, you and Beelzebub stepped up to cover the time slot there. So,
Yeah.
I was very grateful that you could do it, on such short notice. Yes, you have been taken into the fold.
Oh no, is that a good thing or? Again,
Google gobble,
I'm
Google
blaming
gobble, one of us.
I'm blaming you and Dr. Bundy. Between the two of you, got me actually doing this shit.
Well, I blame my whole
Not that I'd done other stuff on other places, but not on. I didn't give much thought to my own channel.
The fact that I'm on the internet is all Bionic Dance's fault.
Ah,
Because when I was stuck in Michigan, I was just searching YouTube for 80s animation, which brought up some of Bionic Dance's stuff, and that's how I discovered there was an atheist community.
yeah.
I wish I hadn't discovered programmer socks were a thing, but on the other hand, they are comfy. Fortunately, I think that meme is about to die a well-deserved death.
Well, and of course, if anybody else doesn't know specifically how they got here, the hashtag blame stool is still active.
Yeah, it's always good to blame Stool because, after all, why not?
And I think to myself, what the fuck's going on?
Think to yourself. Most people say that out loud.
And it's funny because as we're streaming, I just get a notice popping up that Bionic Dance is gaming.
Oh
Hey,
yeah,
how
she's
about
been
that?
doing. Yeah, she's been doing her gaming site or circuit on a new channel.
Yep.
Which let me post that channel link. It's worth checking out.
Well, I can't really blame her for not wanting to do more atheist content, considering the way some of the atheist content has gone.
Well, yeah, basically she just said she'd been doing it for more than a decade and, was just rehashing the same arguments over and over because there was nothing new.
Okay, I don't see it.
You know
pulled
what's
up.
funny is the very first thing I posted on the channel after posting years ago about town politics here in Maine was me giving a sermonette at a local Methodist church, which was pretty funny.
Yep, I've seen that video.
What type? Okay, it looks like I'm looking at C charts. C charts of what?
That is a chart of the entrance to Portland Harbor. That's Portland, Maine. Up on the upper left, that channel that goes in just below the back cove, that's Portland Harbor. And this is the entrance to Portland Harbor. That's Cape Elizabeth on the lower middle of the screen. And it is actually You're looking at it. That's what it looks like IRL at the moment.
I don't see her streaming.
I got the notice through Steam because I still have the Steam running.
Well, okay, I was gonna say we're not.
And you can't see nothing. And on Casco Bay right now, it's not, the visibility is rather poor.
Yeah, this is especially bad if you're on a boat in the water.
Yeah, well,
You
know,
need to make sure that you
that's-
can see where the distinction between the ocean and the shore is.
That's why you have this.
Yep, trying to direct you to where the safe passage channels are.
Yeah, well, they're outlined pretty clearly. That the Portland's a fairly busy port. It used to be, once upon a time, it was it still is. It's the southern terminus of an oil pipeline that goes to Montreal.
Ah,
So there are tankers that come in and
yeah, those
unload
tankers are some of the biggest ships out there.
Yeah.
Well, at any rate, there's Kate's new channel, Circuit, for live streaming games.
Yep.
If you want to go
Growing up
subscribe to that.
you just need to wipe off the camera lens.
Yeah, well, I'm not in Cape Elizabeth. That's the Portland Head Light was commissioned by President Washington. You know, it's one of the first lighthouses on the East Coast.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Yep. And I have been aground off of Cape Elizabeth. Oops. I misread the chart. Hey, are we okay here? Yeah, we're fine. There's this little anchorage that you can sail into, but you can't sail out of if you're southbound. It's like, don't get in there. There are rocks there. Take my advice.
Yeah, I had done my 500 subscriber stream 3 years ago. So that's how long it's taken me to get up to 600.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do a special show for 666.
I think so. You need to book the devil.
Well, I did one at 333 for Halfway to Hell.
Okay.
But yeah, the Christmas marathon, people really rallied up to get me to the 600.
Hey, listen, get me to 300, I'll be happy.
Well, when the Christmas marathon started, I was only at about 675.
Where you at now?
I think it was 605 last time I looked at it.
I am at 243.
That's not bad.
Not too bad.
Okay, here's a project for all the electronics hobbyists here. Create a smoke detector with cooking mode.
Yeah.
Huh.
Or even just a smoke detector, with a button where you can reach it to pause for 1 hour.
That wouldn't be bad. I could go with that.
Okay, when we started the stream, I was at 605. I'm now at 603. So apparently, the more I talk, the more people I lose.
That's discouraging. It's like, wait a minute, what did I do?
Well, Titan Uranus keeps threatening people that if they don't keep subscribing, he'll produce content.
That's true. That's true. It seems to be working for him. That's it's unique. I mean, Dr. Tapioca Weasel does pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
What do you think? I think Dr. Tapioca Weasel's first content is going to be an entire seminar on the science of magnets.
Well, yeah,
That would be
that's what
good.
it should be.
Yeah, I was thinking about what sort of videos I could do for this new channel. I'm thinking about doing So I could cover the controversy and some of the information on Iceman being retconned to being gay. I could cover the obligatory naked girl in anime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was actually enthusiasm. I'm low on enthusiasm right now. I'm still recovering from this. You know,
Yeah.
Actually, my other
from
problem.
the effects of being drained of nutrition.
The problem of losing subs is why I was stuck so long. I kept being stuck around 560. And like every time I got up to 570, I would suddenly lose 5 to 10 subs overnight.
Yeah.
So that's why it took me so long to get to 600.
That's
Blame it
YouTube
on
for
Al
you.
Gore.
So let's just hope I don't drop below 600 before the end of the stream.
YouTube does seem to have this thing about unsubscribing people randomly.
Yeah, I've caught that. Now it's up to about 3 dozen channels that I know I had been subscribed to that I had to go and resubscribe.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I also get sometimes the opposite issue where I'll get subscribed to a channel that I never subscribed to.
Some of those happen because of pirating. That somebody takes over a channel that hasn't had a lot of activity, so that then they can start posting their bullshit and already have a subscriber base.
That's what I was thinking was going on at first, because I was also seeing some videos that I didn't watch showing up in my history, and I figured out that was actually because I was scrolling over it and it was previewing, and that was for some reason counting as going into the history.
Yeah, well, I've had that happening too. That I've had channels coming up in my feed with stuff that's like, why would I have subscribed to that?
But no, there's actually been some I know I did not subscribe to. It was like the Nostalgia Critic. I unsubscribed to him for a while back, and I clicked on one of his videos. And just maybe watched a few seconds of it, and then clicked away. And now subscribed to him again. So it was subscribing me to channels that I didn't hit subscribe for some reason.
Yeah, YouTube is weird in inexplicable ways, and they will never give us any clues.
Well, it seems like the pathway to success is to be a absolutely terrible science person or a madcap preacher of some nature.
Yeah,
those guys all seem to have like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. What? All of this stuff, all of the wonderful stuff in the world, and you gotta subscribe to these people that are
it's clear that Israel gets clicks.
Look, I see it's the lizard men and the squirrels are working together to steal the world's nuts.
Don't forget this combination. You can be overly political and a moron. That's a path to success on YouTube too.
That's also a path to success in Congress.
Yeah, it's going to be scary this year, and we just have to hope the next election turns out with a relatively more sane group running the country.
I don't have my hopes up.
Well, I still have my hopes up on the young people turning out in significant numbers to change things in ways the polls aren't anticipating.
I don't have my hopes up. Biden's doing everything he possibly can to drive that voter base away.
Unfortunately true. It's more that the recognition that Republicans are trying to take away their right to vote is the thing I'm hoping drives them.
I'm not sure they care.
And then unfortunately, we have the Democrats that's doing anti-democratic stuff enough to try and top that shit, like what they pulled in Florida.
Yeah, well, I'm hopeful that you folks can get rid of your current governor at some point in the near future, because he sucks.
I think this is his last term. I'm not sure, entirely sure about that, but I don't think we're gonna have him for much longer.
Well,
as long as he doesn't go to Washington D.C. for any reason whatsoever, it's fine.
Political commentators have pretty much said that the presidential bid has killed the chance of DeSantis getting any position outside of Florida. He has shown up on the national scene, and he literally is doing what I joked about earlier, that the more times he talks in other states, the lower his ratings go in the poll.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with what I was talking about with the Florida thing, is the Democratic Party here did some Weasley bullshit with changing the dates of when you can register to get onto the ballot for the primaries. So they canceled the primaries because they only had Biden on the ballot. And it was very Weasley shit because they had like months ahead of time. People were trying to get in the ballot, and they're like, no, we changed it like a month prior, or some shit like that.
Yeah, Biden's biggest problem really is that he's not getting the press for a lot of the things he did do. He has done a lot of things.
Very true.
And this isn't the first time I've heard about Democratic Party pulling Weasley shit like that with not just this is pretty blatant for the Democratic Party in itself, but I've also heard them pulling shit like that with third parties.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yes, Biden has done some good things. Yes, it's true.
This is one thing that Biden needs more press for, is he just pardoned everyone who was only convicted of marijuana charges.
Yep.
However, of course, he can only do that of the people who were convicted of federal drug charges. And unfortunately, most of them got convicted of both federal and state charges, so that doesn't necessarily get them out of prison.
Well, if you just take it off, make the damn thing legally on a federal level, that would take care of that.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know why he hasn't taken that extra step, other than
he's looking into it, but really, he doesn't need to do all these extra steps to get it descheduled. He do that through executive order. The big problem with doing anything through executive order is the next guy coming in can reverse it.
Right.
But still, even doing that much would go a long way, because you get the next guy trying to reverse that. That's going to be a pretty big black mark.
Yeah, Biden did get the infrastructure bill passed and, more importantly, funded, so that they can actually be making some repairs on the interstate highways and such.
Oh, Biden's done a lot, especially given that Biden is a very skilled politician. Most people wouldn't have been able to compile the kind of record he's had with the kind of opposition he's had in Congress over, no matter what, even when the Dems controlled the House.
Unfortunately, the big problem I see with Biden is he does do these good things, and then he'll do something else that kind of like counteracts the good thing.
Yeah, he has done some things that have favored corporations over the environment, is a big one that's been a bad hit for him.
Like the thing he really should get more credit for, rather than he did. He got a lot of flack for it through the mainstream media, was getting us out of that war.
Yep.
He deserves huge kudos for that. But unfortunately, again, like I said, he likes to he does one really good thing and then does bad thing. Like he then, when we were trying to get out of the war, we got hit by an attack, hit by some other group. He went and issued a bombing into counterattack, which he bombed the wrong people.
Yeah.
And then also they had the support for the area. He withdrew the money that was going into that. So people were basically starving because he didn't want to have money going to the people who were currently in control of the area.
That's unfortunately always a problem, and it's still the major problem with Afghanistan.
It's important to remember
we want to help the general people in there, but we don't want the money to be absorbed by the people who are in control over there.
It's important to remember that the withdrawal process started under Trump. And Trump's the one that initiated it. But also, I'd like everyone to remember that the polling agencies are over-polling older people because younger people don't answer their phones.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
True.
Biden is making some mistakes, especially with not being too harsh on Israel with its military actions, which are going a little too far. But he's also, it's also a tough political game.
Yeah, it is true. But Trump did start that, and he did kind of what Trump did. What did kind of rush the thing, rush the process quite a bit, where we could have gotten out much smoother.
Yeah, and Republicans more and more are disenfranchising women, which a big voter bloc that got Trump elected the first time was suburban women. And the Republicans are driving that base away from Trump.
I swear this next election is a race to the bottom.
Okay, if you're going to say Trump wasn't totally bad, you need citations.
Well, he did engage in some meaningful prison reform because of Kanye West.
Yeah, there are a few things you can credit him for here and there.
And the Kanye...
then again, there's also things where he did one thing and then reversed it with something else.
Trump was not a good president by any means, but even the worst presidents have done some good things. And honestly, I didn't think anyone in my life would top Carter for worst president, but Trump did.
Oh, Jimmy Carter, come on now. He did a lot of good stuff.
That doesn't mean he was a good president.
Yeah, Carter, unfortunately, was ineffective. He was very good as far as domestic policy, but he was not good at handling foreign leaders.
Yeah, for instance...
Menachem Begin and Anwar Sadat would disagree.
Well, just mostly that Trump was too nice to play the political games.
Trump?
Or Carter.
Nice?
Sorry.
Carter.
Like I say, my brain is still fried from dealing with the Christmas marathon. So maybe up to half capacity now.
Ooh, solar storm hits Earth today. Does that mean they're going to be northern lights?
Cool.
But yeah,
Doesn't say.
And some of those people we pardoned shouldn't have been pardoned.
If Trump had just stayed a reality television show host, we wouldn't be saying these things about him.
Yeah. And again, it's a sorry note on our society that somebody got elected to be president just because they were famous, regardless of how unqualified they were.
It's not the first time it happened.
Reagan?
Yeah.
I also miss the days when Republicans knew they were quoting Mein Kampf. I mean, I totally believe Trump's justification as to why he wasn't. Or at least the first part of it. He said he never read the book, but if he just said he never reads, I would have bought that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everybody would have accepted that he's never read a book.
I'd like to say, but he's nice to dogs, just like Der Fuhrer, but, he doesn't have a dog.
Yeah, which is another thing. I believe it is perfectly valid to judge people by how they treat their pets. And
Yeah, well,
because of that, people who don't have any pets, well, unless they have like severe allergies or something, it makes me a little suspicious.
You know,
mm,
Trump tried to trademark "You're fired."
Too generic.
Yep. I still don't get how they can trademark a color. Because according to the trademark laws, it has to be something that you can prove no one else has used before you. You know, and how can they prove that that color was not used by any artist in a painting before them?
Considering a color is just our perception of a wavelength of light, I'm pretty sure that can't be trademarked.
Yeah, I can.
Yes,
Barbie-
unfortunately it
yeah.
is.
The Barbie
yeah,
pink.
Pantone, for example. Their
Yeah,
whole
that-
business is based on trademarking colors.
Yeah, for instance, the pink used for Barbie, that's trademarked.
I'm gonna look that one up. I don't think that's true.
Yeah, and I know that some of the NFL teams have trademarked a specific color.
Okay, but I think there is something missing about the trademarks that a lot of people don't get. It's only, you can only not use it if you're confusing brands. You can use the Barbie pink to sell something else as long as it's not a doll or connected to dolls.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, yeah. Laptop. I'm sorry about that. That's the most difficult decision that we all have to make with pets is when it's time to let them go.
Yeah, it's always a rough one.
You know, you don't want them to be hanging on just for you if they're in pain every day.
I'm so sorry for your loss too.
But I've only had about 6 months that I lived without having an animal in the house, and it was really eerie at night not to have anything else moving around. So I need to have at least one cat wandering around.
Yeah, I've never been without a pet of some sort around me in my life, so I don't think I could handle that very well.
I've had times without pets, but
Well, cats also help me in another way that, you know, if I hear random noises or something crashing off the shelf in the middle of the night, you know, I don't think it's ghosts. I just remember I have a cat.
I wouldn't assume it's ghosts. But yeah, I've caught Athena doing some things I didn't think she could do. Like opening the freezer door.
I saw that on Twitter. You've got a problem now. How are you going to latch that?
I don't know how she got up there. Because normally when she gets up there, she like launches off the chair back there over my shoulder and onto the top. But she didn't have that opportunity.
Yeah, the dream I was having yesterday when I was sleeping, I dreamed that Molly was able to climb, walk up the walls. I was in the dream. I was like, look over. I was sitting in my computer chair. I was looking over at one of the walls, and Molly was kind of scaling the wall up to the ceiling. I'm like, oh, there she goes again. Like it was normal. Like,
There's a video of somebody walking into a room, and these 6 kittens are all at various stages of climbing the wall. You know, and I'm going to assume that they had fabric wallpaper there that was enough for the kittens to grab onto since they didn't weigh that much.
Must the sound of metal ball bearings clicking in a water bottle. Well, it's a shame most rodent pets don't live longer. And rabbits aren't rodents.
Yeah,
that's true.
It
would be nice
for a while, but
It would be nice if the gerbil lasted as long as a dog.
Yeah.
Dr. Ben lost Pebbles the hamster a couple of weeks ago. So
Yeah.
but he got a kitty. He got a kitty.
Hamsters don't live very long either.
Yeah, they only live about 3-4 years.
Yeah,
Rabbit,
my sister always kept gerbils when I was growing up.
all the gerbils we had were really mean.
Well, one of the gerbils did bite me, and the fangs went clear through my finger. I realized it was terrified at the time. I had just gotten it away from the cat.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, gerbils would be terrified of cats. What are you up to with me now?
I had a pet rat that kept getting out, and he ran across the cat's paws, and the cat just kind of looked up like, "You're not supposed to be out."
Yeah. I had that once in New York when a mouse got into the cat food, and the mouse was sitting there in the cat's dish, and Fiona just looked up at me like, "There's food eating my food," because she had been a feral in the park, so she knew how to hunt.
Well, why didn't she catch? Was she just like, I'm not going to catch the mouse. I don't need to do that anymore.
She was just confused by what it was doing there. Actually, Fiona was good at hunting snakes. That pretty much every time I mowed the lawn, there was a snake with 2 puncture holes behind its head left on the deck.
My first cat, Kiki, she was feral for a while. Well, when we got mice getting into the house, and she caught them, she killed them, and she didn't just very gently pick it up and put it in her food bowl. And then, of course, my mom would come by and take the mouse away and throw it away, and she would get very upset about that.
Hey, Beck.
I caught that and was going to eat that later, and you got rid of it. How dare you?
Yeah,
Well, the cat
Rocco was the one who always brought me mice.
The cat brings you gifts because it thinks you're an incompetent hunter.
Yep. Well, that really was the case, because when I fell off a roof and could barely walk, Rocco brought me 11 mice in the first 2 days, because he was pretty sure I wasn't going to be able to feed myself in that condition.
I
This is
believe if
why I
you
love
say,
cats.
I believe if one of us says Titan's full name, he does show up.
No, I already
that's
said
the
it earlier
idea.
in the stream.
He's always watching.
Yeah, you might have to say it 3 times. I did say it earlier in the stream.
Just like if he shows up in your YouTube channel, and if he doesn't already have a wrench, YouTube just gives him one.
Yeah.
To answer Beck's question, I am no longer expelling fluids from both ends, so there's that.
Ooh,
Better.
sounds like a nasty stomach bug.
Yeah. I blame the eggnog. The homemade eggnog. I think maybe one of the eggs was a little salmonellish.
Yeah, if the eggs aren't super fresh, that can be a problem.
There's certain ways of making the eggnog where you're supposed to pasteurize the eggs and all.
Yep.
Yeah, I tried that, but I don't think I did it quite right.
Yeah, you have to get it just right for that to work.
I've never understood how you can pasteurize them without them starting to cook.
There's a way to do it. It's tricky.
In theory, you get the milk and cream mixture hot, just to the boiling point, and then you slowly add it to the egg yolks, and as you beat them in, the egg yolks and sugar. And I did that, but I don't think I did it quite right. No. And then you heat the thing back up again.
I've never tried making eggnog from scratch, though.
Neither have I.
I've done it.
It was good, but it didn't have. I had an undesirable effect on my system.
Like I said, I think I would add alcohol to any homemade eggnog just to be on the safe side.
You see, I did not do that.
I would think that would be the only point of making homemade eggnog is to spike it with something.
I tried some
with the vanilla extract and the nutmeg. I put through a whole bunch of nutmeg into the thing just because.
I tried some alcoholic eggnog this year, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually drink my eggnog straight without any alcohol in it.
Depends what they spike it with.
Jägermeister.
Well, yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
No.
Mark's shared a link earlier, and apparently the winner of that all liquors eggnog was the Fireball eggnog was highly ranked, which I find really weird.
I believe they usually put rum or vodka in eggnog.
Yeah.
Well, another
Whiskey.
thing that works well with
Yeah,
it
it's
is
whiskey.
to spike it with an Irish cream. But as far as Jaeger, this is not a joke. This is actual history. During the war, that was given to soldiers as cough syrup. That's what it was originally made for. And some of the American soldiers basically became addicted to it, so then they started selling it as a beer.
Also, brandy or bourbon's used for eggnog spiking.
I could see brandy.
Probably really any of the sweeter alcohols would probably work.
I'll have to
Although
pick up some-
what Stephanie was just saying about the Fireball, I could see spiking it with the Fireball cinnamon whiskey.
I'll have to pick up some eggnog before New Year's Eve. And yes, I am one of those weird people who actually will drink Jägermeister. Just a shot occasionally because I like black licorice. I don't feel the need to consume it in great quantities because I just don't like doing that, but
Do you also like pineapple on your pizza?
I do not.
Okay. I think there's something seriously wrong with you then. Liking licorice and pineapple pizza.
Okay,
I
I
like
can
put licorice on
passively
pizza.
accept people who like licorice. Pineapple on your pizza, you get kicked.
Yeah, you don't like a good Hawaiian, which was actually invented in Canada.
Yeah. Well, I keep saying we actually have to have compassion for the people who like pineapple on their pizza until we can remove the malfunctioning brain chips. See,
Yeah, the Canadians.
that's
gave
part of
us-
the problem. The Saurian overlords didn't understand mammalian brains very well. So when the control chips go bad, it affects your sense of taste, and you think weird things taste good.
Listen,
Porpoise, you're muted.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
No, I hear you.
Okay, I thought you were talking there, and I wasn't hearing anything.
Well, you might not have been, but that wasn't me.
Okay.
It was not on my end. I forgot what I was going to say. One of the great things about pizza is you can pretty much put any topping you want on it, which is why if you go to Japan, you can get some really weird pizza toppings. And I'm pretty sure every country that pizza has been introduced to has put different things on it according to their culture.
Live baby octopus would be good.
No, I will not eat cephalopods because they're too intelligent. That bothers me.
So what's the weirdest thing you guys have put on your pizza? I've had a pepperoni and cricket pizza.
No.
I'm sorry, not that adventure is the weirdest thing. It's not really that weird, but apparently they didn't do it. And the Atlantic I've put on pizza was green olives.
I go with black olives and anchovies, aka hairy fish and eyeballs.
W Purple.
Yeah, I can't think of anything really weird I've ever put on them. You know, I have tried pizza with anchovies that some people like, but even though I've been known to sit here and want to eat a salt lick, with the anchovies, all I tasted was salt, and it just no other flavor of the pizza came through.
And experimenting from the whole Ninja Turtles thing, I've actually tried marshmallows on pizza, which not hugely great, but wasn't all that bad either.
No,
That's
squid
very
did not
nice
see
of
that.
Paul. That's super nice of Paul.
I didn't see Apology as new list. Although I did think it was one of the cool things that for a while Ember was starting his streams with 5 YouTubers you should be aware of, and he highlighted me in one of those.
Yeah, Ember's good. Ember's good like that.
Yeah, I know. I don't think Elon is responsible for the brain chips.
I don't think Elon is responsible.
Now, I know
Yeah.
Elon is not responsible for pineapple on pizza as much as Purple would like that to be true.
What is wrong with pure? Okay, the fishy part is not great, but
Oh, it's great. Kidding me?
who
Well,
doesn't
if-
like really salty things?
Yeah, I would
After
have
years
been
inspired
better
electro.
with just a coating of road salt on the pizza than the anchovies.
Well, here's a nice
Okay.
combination for you: anchovies and pineapple.
I don't think that would be good. Although
No.
I can imagine that to be an okay combination, sort of the salt and sweet. might
Still
be-
not allowed, because the problem is not the pineapple and the meat. The problem is that, pineapple is delicious on its own. It's a great dessert thing. And pizza is wonderful. But pineapple should never come in contact with any tomato-based product.
Mm.
Okay, Mage. Here's a challenge for you. I want you to try anchovy and pineapple on pizza and report back to us how it was.
I know I don't like either of them, so I'm guessing the combination is probably pretty disgusting for me.
I'm
Okay,
I-
Mark,
Yes, I have-
adventurous enough to give that a whirl. Yeah, I could do that. But
Mark
then
says
again,
on the other side of the world,
nobody would listen to me because anchovies is not something that most people enjoy.
Yeah,
Mark
my
says
uncle.
on the other side of the world that Domino's offers Vegemite as a pizza topping. Yeah.
That's see no.
My uncles did like anchovies on his pizza, so I have tried the anchovy pizza before, and I didn't like it.
Yes, fresh tomatoes from the garden are wonderful.
Yes, in fact, I don't even like the tomatoes, store-bought tomatoes. I only get the garden fresh stuff.
So we have Jenny joining us.
Well, quit whining and eat the damn tomatoes.
No.
Hi, kids. I'm back.
Yeah. So you got held up at the hospital for a while.
Yeah, I had an appointment. I
Okay,
forgot to
so
mention.
I was worried when I heard saw the hospital thing, but if it's just an appointment, I'm assuming
I-
everything went well.
I had to go in a room with this woman and this guy, and then I had to work with him enough so that he could get my neck all filled with this sticky, creamy stuff.
It sounds like the beginning of a porno.
Yeah.
Sounds like a thyroid ultrasound.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. I know you said they've been checking your thyroid.
Yeah, I mean, I should do that, but the doctor's not really worried about it. But if you have like a Hashimoto's disease or something similar, it increases your risk of thyroid cancer slightly, so they try to monitor it.
Hi, Chad. How are you guys? Sorry
Is
I'm
there-
late.
Yeah. Is there anything to do with thyroid that may be aggravated with the HRT?
But what?
I'm sorry, there's too much noise in the background.
Is there anything with thyroid that may be agitated going through HRT? Because I've noticed this seems to be
Well,
kind of
that's
a
a good
common
question.
problem.
I asked that as well, and the endocrinologist said no, there shouldn't be any cross issue.
The one thing I've wondered is if trans women actually have higher rates of autoimmune disease than cisgender men. But
No, the whole thyroid thing started with my complaint of words dropping out and memory issue type like things, and apparently one of the things that can occur with hyperthyroid is memory loss.
and hypothyroidism,
And
yes.
so they had me check my thyroid, and the numbers were all over the place. So they said it's time for step 2.
Was your TSH high or low?
It was low, which
That's
means
hyperthyroidism.
that the end result goes high.
Yeah.
So I had another level run today too, and then for vitamin D, and then for vitamin D12, and then one for INR, and another one for something else. I don't fucking remember, some cardiac bullshit.
Is it Graves' disease?
No, that's hypo.
No, that's hyperthyroidism.
Nope, that's hypo.
No, hypo is Hashimoto's.
Those are weird medical terms that hypo and hyper make, opposites.
Hypo is low, hyper is high.
Yeah, they just should have
hypothyroidism
had
is
some other
Hashimoto's.
term to make them seem more distinctive. It just seems it's very easy to get those confused, especially when they're spoken.
But there are other causes that aren't autoimmune for hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism.
Jenny said a potty word? No, Jenny never swears.
No, All right, you win. You're correct.
Okay,
Someone is wrong
Spooky,
on the
someone is
internet.
wrong on the internet. We'll have to mark that as the holiday, right?
No, Porpoise is on the internet, not me. So the internet was right for once. In fact, Graves' disease is the most common cause of hyperthyroidism.
The only reason I know that is because I have Hashimoto's.
Yeah, the doc said that on very first discussion of it. It says, no, you don't have Graves' disease. You don't have any of the other symptoms whatsoever.
Okay, what is Graves' disease?
Autoimmune thyroid condition.
I think it's bad enough that you have to dig a grave, is what I'm thinking.
That's not good.
Oh, somebody in the chat has Graves.
Yeah, that was Chapter's Death. Does his son has it, but it's in check now.
Autoimmune disorder that involves overactive thyroid.
Why am I getting in a game? Oh, okay, it's Epic giving me a game update for a game I don't have.
Well, the thyroid is kind of scary to me, anyways, in my life and how my brain works and stuff.
Yeah, Beck brought it up too. Hallmarks of the condition are bulging eyes, heat intolerance, increased energy.
Increased energy. That's an interesting one.
And difficulty sleeping, diarrhea, and anxiety.
Well, for a short time, then it starts going into fatigue. But
yeah, that all around sounds really nasty.
Hypothyroidism has pretty much the opposite symptoms. And the thing is, if something goes wrong with the thyroid, it affects so many different areas in the body.
Yeah.
Because every cell in the body has thyroid hormone receptors.
Well, like Jenny said, that they're looking into it because of the effect it was having on memory.
And that's one of them.
And just anything that's affecting your brain, yeah, you worry about that.
But if you have to pick between the two, you want Hashimoto's. Fortunately, only a few people will have to do that. Have to deal with either one, so.
Well, I was just asking if it had any connection with HRT, because I've just noticed that thyroid problems seem to be rather common with a lot of trans women that I've met.
Well, one, it's the most common. It's usually hypothyroidism. Usually, if it's in a developed country, it's the most common cause is Hashimoto's disease. And I don't know if HRT affects it, but the treatment for hypothyroidism is a different kind of HRT that replaces the hormones your thyroid is no longer making enough of. And as Captive Desk is saying in the chat there, the treatment for Graves' disease is essentially nuking the thyroid and making you hypothyroid, because that is much easier to treat.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun either, but if that's what they got to do.
On the whole, I'll take a pass on that. either choice if there is something else on offer.
Well, I mean,
but that's okay.
there. Autoimmune diseases are something you're genetically disposed to in some way, generally.
This is true.
Yeah, well, that's why Sloth Girl is, trying all the different drugs that she really doesn't like the idea of them trying to do. Wow.
What was that?
The hell?
I don't know where that came from. I can't even tell, whose feed that was from.
That was Jenny. Blowing your nose?
Shaking the pills in the bottle.
Yeah. I was thinking if you're blowing your nose, it didn't sound too good.
Yeah, but Sloth Girl does not like the idea of them, actually using a radiation treatment to try and nuke her growth. So trying real hard to find a drug that works on them.
I do think it's interesting that some of the cancer treatments are actually training your immune system to fight the cancer cells, which is why if you're still watching TV and see the commercials on channels geared towards older people, you'll see some of the cancer drugs say side effects may include immune disorders or autoimmune diseases. That's why.
Yeah.
And
these new drugs that are on and their things on TV they warn you about are damn scary. I don't ever want to touch any of them. God.
Yeah, really.
My doctor wanted me to go on this Jardiance. I think it was. There's two of them similar, Jardiance and something else. And well, the biggest, most dangerous side effect on that is and I don't know how this can happen. How can a drug cause an infection? But it says can cause an infection of the peritoneum, which is, of course, that space between your joy box and your joy hole. And it gets this fungus and it can kill you because it's real fast and all this kind of stuff. And I refused to take it. And she said, well, how can you refuse to take it? You just have to, keep cleaning your normal cleaning process. I said, look, I'm trans woman. We got enough problems down there staying clean and staying dry, so no, I'm just not going to do it. So we'll see.
how can you refuse to take it? That's simple. I'm just not going to take it.
Yeah.
Well, I like my doctor, and she treats me with, great respect. And so I don't just say no. We talk about things.
Oh, that's good.
I keep getting doctors I like, but then after a year or two, they keep leaving.
Well,
and I don't fancy my odds that I'm going to get a fourth good one in a row.
I think it's time you look at the common factor. It's
Minnesota?
you. Stop
Because
going.
my clinic isn't paying them enough.
I've had the same doctor for 30 years, and he's about to retire, so I'm scared shitless.
Well, I really do like my endocrinologist.
I was shocked when my original internal medicine doctor retired. I asked her, and she said she's 62. Okay, but she doesn't look a day over 45, 50 tops. And I was just like, what? How the fuck can you be that old?
See, you need to get like Dr. Ben to treat you.
Well, actually, I have had the same GP here, who is also Dr. Ben. So, yeah, Sloth Girl and I have to specify if we mean Dr. Ben at the clinic or online Dr. Ben.
You mean the Dr. Ben that we know here?
Yep.
He comes to your clinic?
No, my GP here is also Dr. Ben with some barely pronounceable last name.
I see.
There are probably plenty of Dr. Bens, but very few Dr. Torbens.
Well, I imagine that's true.
Well, I'm sure the Dr. Ben that we all know would be great with trans patients.
Yeah,
you always said that was one of the things he wanted to focus on. I love it when he gets into knockdown drag out with some of the haters, and they're trying to tell him the medicine behind trans science and stuff. And it's like,
that's always cute.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, the lead doctor at my gender clinic, who has been there for many years, is trans. So she has stayed around. and she basically oversees all the other doctors there.
Well, can't you have her as your doctor?
What's it?
Why don't you have her as your doctor?
Because her caseload is overloaded. She can't really take on new patients, and just
And
trying to fill it while they find a substitute is being too much for her.
Tell her she's a spineless whim.
Yeah, they do have a problem finding substitutes.
That'll make you real popular with her.
Yeah, so, about all she can do for me is that, every 3 months she'll do the routine checkup and the blood test and renew all my prescriptions.
And not to derail this conversation, but it is 5 o'clock now.
Well,
Or 4 o'clock.
realistically, that's all
5:06.
you really need. I don't know why they're insisting on seeing you so frequently for HRT. It's just if everything's steady for a couple of 6 months periods, it's going to be just fine. Why would it change?
And mostly it's been minor things, of just the level of certain minerals in my blood work and that. The magnesium and potassium things to get those to be more steady.
Yeah.
Well, I had my INR for my blood thinner done.
I'm sorry.
I had my INR done for my blood thinner today and got the results back, and everything's just fine. So I can go eat my can of spinach. Nummy.
Speaking of which, I'm still waiting for results to come back.
Okay, Mark,
Sounds like
that's
finish.
probably the worst possible thing you could say to a trans woman.
Grow up here. Okay, well, which kind?
Okay, Mark, but you got to suck them.
Which kind?
Well, I think that would still be safe because Cyrus did say on his stream that it's not gay to suck your girlfriend's dick.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's another video I was thinking about doing for the new channel is the homoerotic undertones of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Undertones.
Yeah.
I have not
They were
seen that.
undertones.
Stephanie, did you get a haircut?
Well,
No, I did a little bit of styling.
I mean, you're only about 2 millimeters big, so I can't really tell for sure. But
I might have to dig it up for it, but there was somebody saying there's no homosexual thing.
oh, okay, yeah, you
things
did.
in the
Looks nice.
I just did that so Jen could have a better look on her small screen.
there was
There you go.
there's no homosexual anything in anime, and then somebody was like listing all these different things in anime, and someone brought up JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I had responded to it. Wherever would you get the idea there are homoerotic undertones in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? I had a GIF of somebody licking some cherries.
Yeah.
Okay, I need a
Just-
vote now because either we need to wrap up or I need to take a break because I'm out of iced tea.
I'm fine with wrapping up.
As I said, it's after 5 in time zones that are
Yep.
sensible.
Well, we've been going more than 2 hours.
Well, I'm all raring to go. What the fuck?
Yeah, Jenny
You
just got
you
here.
guys were too early for me. That's all.
Well, yeah, Purpose, you could, just give us your wrap up even if the rest of us keep going.
Well, tonight is my gaming night.
We promise we won't talk about you when you're gone. Much.
Except when you leave, we'll say, okay, she's gone now, let's talk about her.
You realize I could just go to YouTube and listen to it, right?
That's
Yep.
true.
Oh, really? I didn't know that happened.
I mean, at least my students pretend like I can't hear them. But tonight is my gaming night. For the next couple of days, I might be doing some stuff on Twitch. My channel there is twitch.tv/SinisterPorpoise77. But it's not really that exciting. I'm just playing a game I got over Christmas. Be excellent to each other. And so long. And thanks for all the
what
fish.
game will you be playing for the people who are interested?
Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, we will see you around. Yeah,
And-
Mage,
and,
did you need to go and bring the chickens in and such?
I took care of the chickens just before we started, so all I would have to do is walk Molly, and I can do that in the dark if necessary.
Okay, wasn't that kind of early for the chickens?
And no, I can do it any time of the day. I sometimes take care of them in the morning.
Okay,
Aren't-
I thought you
aren't-
just tried to give them as much time running around in the sunlight as you could.
Aren't
Well,
gators nocturnal?
gators.
Gators.
Actually, yes, I think that gators do generally tend to hunt more at night.
Gators,
What about
was Florida's state bird.
what about gators?
Those are pelicans, I think.
Oh, pelicans that eat everybody. If there was big enough pelican, they'd eat you.
Yeah, pelicans will eat anything that can fit in their throat.
I saw this little video of a pelican this morning that was trying to eat a capybara.
Yep.
It was a baby, but it was still huge compared to the thing's beak, and it just kept putting its beak around and going, trying to see if there's an angle that it can suck it up with.
I've seen that video, and I have really been wondered about that maybe that pelican had eaten a couple of them when they were smaller and just thought it could still keep doing it.
I like it when they eat ducks and stuff. Quack, quack.
Okay,
Chomp.
can chickens lick? Do they have a tongue?
They do have a tongue.
They have tongues.
I think everything has a tongue, don't they?
I don't know.
I know my
have
dogs
tongues.
do.
I have
Larks
never
have
checked if
tongues.
I have never checked if birds have tongues. It's something I've never looked
Well,
into.
see now remember in Arthur Treasure days, King Arthur days, they used to fancy sparrow tongues and stuff like that.
Oh,
That's why they brought
King
them
Crimson
over to
has a
America.
song. And King Crimson has a song called "Lark's Tongues and Aspic."
lark tongues and aspics.
Mm-hmm. In Aspic.
That definitely sounds like it's theme music for a porno movie.
Yeah, parents absolutely have tongues.
Yeah, the lorikeet has a really weird tongue.
I think most things have tongues.
I would love to have a capybara as a house partner. They're just so funny, but you need a pool of some sort for them.
Yeah,
So,
they
so
need to
aquatic.
be able to wade into the water.
Well, I don't know. I suppose you could teach them how to swan dive.
When I was growing up, I often had fantasies about having otters as pets. And actually, in one of the houses I designed, I even had a big pool in the living room to have a couple of otters. Probably completely impractical, but although I do follow a YouTube channel that they've have otters as pets, and they've actually had a couple of litters of them.
Otters are cute. What was it? What otter was it? Was that a Russian otter? They're 6 feet long. They're big.
Well, actually, just the sea otters they have around California are close to that size.
There's the lorikeet tongue.
Oh, it's hanging upside down.
Oh, it looks like a wick from a kerosene lantern.
Yeah.
That is weird.
The specialized tongue is due to their diet of nectar.
Okay.
Oh. Now, you have a lorikeet?
No, I don't have a lorikeet.
Okay.
I should have realized that, of course, that hummingbirds, have a very long tongue for getting the nectar out of flowers. I knew that.
I heard that you can use hummingbird tongue in place of a twist tie on a loaf of bread.
Lorikeets are not. Lorikeets are very nice birds, but they have a very specialized diet compared to other parrots.
Yeah, if they need that much nectar, I mean, how would you feed them?
You have to get special special lorikeet food for them.
Mm-hmm.
They sure are pretty.
Well, I know even hummingbirds, you could fill a bird feeder with sugar water.
Yep.
Yeah, in fact, that's actually a better way of feeding hummingbirds than using the store-bought hummingbird food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mom mixes her own. Because basically hummingbirds because they have to flap their wings so fast, they need an astounding amount of calories per day just to keep their metabolism going.
And in the winter, my sister-in-law cares for hummingbirds outside. And in the winter, she'll make do the mixture, and then put like a half a shot of tequila in there because it'll get the bird warm for winter.
Yeah, right.
And stuff. They fly a little funny, but
yeah, that's kind of like drunk driving at 300 miles an hour.
How so?
Just the chance that you're going to lose control. No, the hummingbirds migrate in the winter.
Porcupines are funny when they're drunk. They do get drunk. If they eat fermented fruit, then they're hysterically funny to watch.
Hummingbirds are the only bird that can fly in reverse.
No, my son Conyer, when he was first learning how to fly, he flew in reverse.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't know how to fly yet, so when he tried to fly, he actually went backwards.
I want to know why they built jetliner transmissions without a reverse.
I don't think I felt they needed it.
I've been trying to trip off Stephanie, but I'm not doing very well today.
Yeah, unfortunately, the drunken squirrel season is pretty much over now. It's so entertaining through November to watch the squirrels when they've been eating the fermented pumpkins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at my mom's place, we often watched the drunken deer after they'd been eating the apples that fermented on the ground.
Bad to do during hunting season. Oh, look at that orange thing. What's that? Orange moving. Yeah.
Fortunately, the fermented fruit isn't around during hunting season, so.
Boom. Bill, get up.
So that's the trick, Mage. Are you saying you used a tennis racket for your bird?
No, I didn't use the tennis racket.
Mark.
He just didn't know how to fly because he spent his first year of life in a small old cage, and when I let him out and he tried to fly, he went backwards.
That tennis racket's pretty inappropriate, Mark.
Mark has been horrible today.
Just use a badminton racket.
You're right. A badminton racket is made for hitting a birdie.
Mm-hmm.
It also has a longer reach.
I think the contribution of Fireball Eggnog was a good one to the entire thing.
I may have to try that. I don't have any Fireball whiskey on hand, unfortunately, but...
Can't you just dump in some habaneros in there?
No.
Oh, I've still got a good stock of Fireball whiskey.
The Fireball whiskey actually tastes more like those little cinnamon candies. Have you ever had those?
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I always thought they were pretty shitty.
I've got a good stock of Fireball whiskey because it was like 2 years ago that the liquor store happened to put on sale and they had a rebate at the same time. So I bought a case of it because it came out to like $3 a bottle.
Jeez. My favorite scotch is like over $100 a bottle now. I can't even begin to think I could afford it.
Yeah, I don't get to buy the good whiskey very often. I generally just have to stick to the middle shelf stuff.
Yeah, I think next time I go alcohol buying, I'm gonna try and get myself some of that Tullamore Dew whiskey, Irish whiskey.
Give me Balvenie.
Yeah, well, most of the time I'm sticking to the Windsor Canadian. It's a Canadian blended whiskey.
My editor turned me on to Belvini. He sent me a bottle for a Christmas present one year, and I was hooked on the first shot. It was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, I've never tried that one.
It's a very nice scotch.
Yeah, it was only the 12-year-old crap. It wasn't the real stuff.
Yeah. The
was
stuff
still
I
good.
get is purely for mixing. You wouldn't want to drink it straight.
The
It's
one that I
not
want,
a sipping whiskey.
the one I want to really try with the Tullamore Dew is the Cider Cask whiskey.
That sounds good.
Unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'm having trouble finding it though.
Yeah, just a hint of the apple cider in it.
Yeah, from my understanding, it tastes more like an apple cider whiskey. I was watching some taste testing of the various ones they have.
Well, I like hard cider and I like whiskey, so it sounds like a good combination.
Yeah, it does.
Maya, was that off Medicaid marijuana thing? Was that like a tit for tat? You know, one day Biden did something, the next day they did something.
Huh?
Maya had said earlier about Biden and marijuana.
She wrote, the Republicans have just thrown a record number of children off of Medicaid, while Biden just pardoned prisoners on marijuana charges.
Okay, yeah,
Oh,
that was
that's
a while
good.
back, but yeah. No, Maya says just Republicans being evil for the fuck of it.
Fuck of it.
Oh, okay.
That's-
Well, yeah,
they,
they do that
the
best.
cruelty's the point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Brainless.
Isn't that just sick that they're this enthralled with being cruel that they would just make it their life work?
Yeah. Well, that's like their only ambition now is to control other people. It's the only thing they care about anymore.
And then to call themselves Christian.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? What's funny is it's been so long now, but I whenever I get blood drawn, or when I get blood drawn on an annual basis, check T levels and hormone levels for the benefit of world sailing. That's the only reason I do it at this point in time.
Yeah, you know, I think it proved once and for all that there is no God. When at their convention they wheeled out a literal golden statue of Trump and the building did not get struck by lightning. You know, these people claiming that they're so Christian and they literally made a golden idol.
That's like the total example of breaking that commandment.
Yep. That's what I mean. I think it was final proof there is no God, or at very least he is not paying any attention to what's going on this planet.
Or he is and has a good laugh every Saturday night.
We're talking about the leader of the party is the guy with the golden toilet.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
I'm
go ahead,
most
Jay.
disturbed about this new speaker of the House. This guy is just a freaking nutcase.
It's terrible.
He was talking the other day about how God came to him and told him to be Moses to lead the country.
Oh,
you know, now that's fucking dangerous talk.
Wait, does that mean he's going to take all the Republicans and leave?
He's a Rush Dooney fan. And that guy was stone crazy.
Well, I'm not sure if they're going to leave the country, but maybe they'll go and wander around in the desert Southwest for 40 years.
Hey, we should put Trump on the Bachelor. You know, I mean, Melania is going to leave him any day.
Yeah, I think Melania's just upset that he hadn't died in office. I think she was, really hoping for someone to assassinate him. Because she just wants the money, but she can't get out from under the prenup.
Well, they're renegotiating that.
So I heard.
Spooky, who do you think you are saying that just because it's true?
I am desperately hanging on to the hope that it is not, most Americans, I'm hoping that being sane is still the majority in this country.
A doormat knob, yes, they really, really did. I'm sure if you looked it up on Google Images, you'd find it.
Yeah, that was brainless steel. Yeah. They actually did at the Republican National Convention have a golden idol of Trump.
Oh, was that convention? I
Yikes.
forgot.
Yeah, you can definitely find pictures of it if you look for it.
Yeah, I'll pull the image up.
Oh, you got one, Mage?
I can pretty quickly pull it up here. Let's see if I can find a good one here.
The
Does it look
Republicans
like a
are nothing
toilet?
more than flat earthers in suits. And so you got to look at commonalities between them, and not being able to read a room. High on both of their lists. Sorry, I had to fold up the bag. I reuse bags.
The week that they wheeled out that golden statue of Trump was the week all Israel read that parsha about the golden calf. Yep.
There we are.
Oh
Yep.
yes, how lovely.
That is really special. That's so special.
I just can't see how they can continue to claim that they're Christian after making that thing.
He looks like a dwarf.
Yes, he does.
No offense to dwarfs. I mean,
All you have to do is have one of the evangelical leaders say, "God came to me and said, do this." And
Yeah.
they'll all suck it in. I think the better statue of Trump was the one that came out when he was real early in his first term, with him buck naked and his big belly covering over and his little penis that's about half an inch long.
Yeah, the artist's commentary, his own way of giving a commentary on the whole thing.
Yeah, apparently he made 4 of them, and like 2 of them were completely destroyed by vandals. So I guess it really pulled their chain.
People's is weird.
I saw a good example of Republican ignorance this morning, actually, early this morning. I was just killing some time pasting through stuff on TikTok, and I came upon this panel of 6 people, and it was a hate fest of trans people. And to sit there and listen to what these people say and what they talk to each other about what is true is just like, what the fuck? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, they have diseases and stuff, and it's like, come on. You know, they will infect you. That's why they do that. Their brain is broken. It's damaged. They're delusional. You know,
there's also people. That one.
Yeah.
It's a different
that
one.
one's just completely gold.
It's a completely gold version.
And why is he carrying a magic wand?
Yes, Mark, the hot air balloon was wonderful. I guess that's gone around the world. They've shipped it different places to be in various parades.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been in parades in several different countries.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, Republicans basically are all just working backwards, that they're starting with their conclusion and they're trying to trace it all back to the Bible supports it. Oh. Okay, have we got another topic? Jenny, did you bring another topic with you?
Well, we could talk about ingrown toenails. I have a real problem with those.
that sounds painful.
I found the best cure for them is to remove the entire toenail. Then it's not a problem again for another 8-9 months.
I don't know about the toe, but I've got 3 fingers that no longer have fingernails. That's permanent.
Well, that's not going to be very useful if somebody murders you.
Yeah, they had that problem because when I went in for my name change, like a month before the hearing for my name change, I had to go in to the police department so they could take my fingerprints and they could run a check that I wasn't trying to like evade a warrant or anything.
Really? Jeez.
Yep. Yeah, it was part of the procedure. And yeah, the guy who took my fingerprints didn't quite know how to deal with it. And when they came back, they didn't know how to deal with it because, you know, I had been arrested back in the 90s when I had all my fingers. So last time they had 10 fingerprints and now they only had 7.
Well,
Oh, that's funny. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's kind of fun being this weird outlier piece of humanity trying to exist in this world of stupid.
Oh, anytime I
it's
make
not,
people
but-
stop and think for a moment, I consider that an achievement. Because so many
Yeah, that's
people go
pretty
through
good.
their days, day in and day out, for months or years at a time without any actual conscious thought.
That's always a good thing, I think. You know,
Well, it's
being
my channel's motto.
thought-provoking.
It's my channel's motto that my goal is to get you to think for yourself.
Hmm.
Yeah, but you're preaching to the choir with your audience.
That's true, and you know, I get incredibly few trolls in here.
Hmm.
But then again, we've also got a good moderator crew.
This is true.
Oh, hey, Commander, didn't see you come in.
Well, they're voluminous anyway.
You've pulled up Commander a few times
Yeah.
already.
No, I did pull that one up, and like I say, that's how brain dead I am. That it's like, you know, I'll open a new tab to go search for something, and by the time Google opens, I forgot what it was I was going to look for. Oh.
You got to start using some of the other widgets you got on a computer, like notepads and stuff like that. It really helps you out. Trust me, it really helps a lot.
Yeah, write down what you're going to say and search for it, or you forget when you open the notepad.
Well, actually, I do have a seasonal thing that I had opened up in Notepad. A short thing about holidays. Okay, because with the Nordic traditions, the winter solstice was the end of the year. But there were 10 days that they had to add in to make the lunar and solar calendars line up with each other. So there were always 10 days that were not part of the old year and were not part of the new year. And according to legend, the time in between that was the Odin sleep. So I've got this piece I used for one of my videos a couple of years ago. Now we face the time of the Odin sleep. The old year ended upon the winter solstice. Now Odin, the most powerful of all the gods, must rest for 10 days to recharge his power before even he has the strength to draw the world back up from the darkness to allow the new year to begin.
And take his annual urinary expedition, isn't that?
Yep. As Jodin slumbers, Ymir knows this is his best opportunity to lead the Jontar, the ancient frost giants, to siege Asgard. Every one of the gods, the Valkyries, and every immortal creature allied to them is called home to fight. The great halls of Valhalla ring empty as the fallen warriors of old are enlisted, every last man, to fight in the epic battle with nothing less than the existence of the universe at stake. Not a single soldier can be spared from the fight. During this time of endless darkness, the mortals dwelling in the realm of Midgard are left to fend for themselves. In their passing through, the Jontar have left the ground a frozen leaf and wasteland. Now hordes of lesser demons plague the land, and minimus survive with nothing but their own wit and courage. Until Odin awakens to put down the uprising, calls to the gods cannot be heard through the din of the great battle that wages above. So that's
Hey,
just a bit of
Doorknob and
knowledge
Spooky,
of my
you guys would make a
ancestors.
really cute couple. But Doorknob, you do realize Spooky is part octopus. Look at that avatar.
Seriously.
So this means we just gotta, give one of them an idea that they think is their own idea, and they'll both go follow it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Doorknob Head, are you saying that if Spooky jumped off a cliff, you would follow him?
Depends whether or not Spooky would tell him to.
Well, it depends how literal the tell thing is. Does he actually have to verbalize it, or would he follow by example?
And by tell, does he mean verbal or does he mean like a facial tick?
Yeah, that's one thing I'm having a problem with lost sleep, even with as much as I got. My muscle ticks are way up, and it's making it very difficult to type because my hand keeps twitching and pressing extra keys. Backslash probably a wise guideline, doing the opposite of what Doorknob Head and Spooky tell you to do.
Doorknob, no, there is no spam at the bottom of the cliff, but there will be once you jump.
Is spam cushiony?
Well, I think it's a function of velocity.
Enough of it?
Well, when you take it out of the can, the top of it has a gelatinous mass on top, and that's pretty springy.
Yeah, but that gelatinous mass, you can save it like, in a jar and put it in the freezer and keep saving and saving it. It keeps like for 10 years. You can build up like a whole, like 2 cups of it. And you can use it for like glue if your shoe starts to separate, you can use it for glue on the sole.
I would actually find that believable considering what the Elmer's glue is made from.
Wait a minute, would I lie to you?
No.
Thank you.
I think that's very reliable information.
I'm sorry, I was stuck because I'm sure that's a trick question. Oh, okay, I think maybe we should wrap up here for the day.
One thing before we wrap up,
Okay.
we got puppy dog picture.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Always want more floof.
Yep. Just loaded this up on my computer now. Molly jumped up onto my lap and was trying to lick me, and just as I was trying to take a picture, and this is what I got.
That's good.
Boy, it kind of looks like a furry seal. Land seal.
I was trying to get a different picture of her when I was scratching her ear, and she was looking at me like, "Oh, that feels good." And then she decided to jump up in my lap, and this is I was taking the picture.
Well, have any of you seen
doggy
that
eyes.
video of a woman and her border collie doing yoga?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
She comes out and she puts her mat down, and the dog comes out and puts his mat down or her mat
Yep.
down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen
And then
that one, yeah.
every move she does, it duplicates. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of floof before we end.
Okay, and I
Purple,
will match your floof with my floof. Here is Sammy on his cat tower, annoyed by the flash of the camera.
Purple, when you had the screens up the way it was before, all 4 of us.
Yep.
You look like a weather girl.
I'm just reading a book there.
Yeah.
Doorknob. Of course not. It was Mage. Molly was trying to lick a pork chop. Or a hot dog, I'm sorry. Hot dog.
Yeah, Maya's got us here for another 3 hours.
Yeah,
which is-
that does happen on this channel.
We will wrap up 3 hours later.
Okay, so Steph, you got anything planned on your channel?
On my channel, not really. I'm on the transatlantic call-in program tomorrow at 3.
Oh, okay.
Eastern.
Why don't you invite
So-
me?
Well, I invite you to call, and yeah,
I can't afford long distance.
no,
Long distance even a thing anymore?
Call on the computer.
That's a good question. Do we get charged for long distance calls anymore?
Generally, cell phone plans don't charge for long distance. If you have a landline, generally you will be charged.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the reasons cell phones became popular, is that they started offering free long distance.
So they'll be jawing away tomorrow, and whatever. Don't really have
Okay,
anything
and we
else
just have
planned.
to wait for your
That's
own
about it.
channel for you to appear with random rantings.
Random rantings, yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, fog report. I'll be giving a fog report. Which, at the moment, it's now foggy and dark, so
Yeah, the
best
sun
to
is
rely on the
setting
chart.
here. Jenny, you have anything you want to plug?
Well, I've had this bloody nose for the last couple of days. I'd sure like to plug that.
Yeah.
That's bad.
And there's Jenny talking about plugging your holes again.
Okay. As far as an internet plug,
Oh, well, on Wednesdays I usually do this show that starts at 2 p.m. Who knows how long it goes? Usually it's pretty boring. Only the last couple hours.
oh, nobody watches that. That
I
guy's
know,
been
I know.
struggling for years and hasn't even got up to 1,000 subscribers.
But I feel sorry for the creator, so I do what I can. And then, of course, I'll be sticking my neck out to get my head chopped off by all the turfs and haters on TikTok.
Yep.
So if you ever want to track me down there, let's see, what the hell is my name? Bonzoix or something like that. BONZOIX.
I don't know, it's her name.
Okay, I need to put in a plug here. Jyuni is the artist who created most of my avatars, and she is currently homeless, so she is taking commissions for artwork if anybody has something they want drawn up. The link there is her link tree. So that also contains her Ko-Fi. So if you're just feeling generous and can throw her a couple extra bucks for a hot meal, that would be appreciated.
Mark Caesar, that's not the problem. I'm a lesbian. I keep short fingernails.
I don't know. Aside from a channel creator, I don't think we do. Okay, so Mage, how about you?
Well, I still got the video to release on my gardening channel, and as I keep talking about, I've been thinking about starting a new channel, which I still need a name for. So if I could get any suggestions for that, that'd be great.
Okay, we should have a contest for, name Mage's new channel. So Mage, tell everybody what it's about so they can submit names.
It's basically gonna be a pop culture channel where I basically review like comic books, movies, TV shows, anime, whatnot. It's not gonna be just focusing on current day stuff. It'll be spreading all over the stuff. I'll be covering stuff from old time stuff and new stuff, whatever. And as I was saying, I can do like little kind of jokey stuff. Like I was talking about doing the JoJo's Bizarre ensures this doesn't have homoerotic undertones and keep cutting back to the homoerotic undertones in the show, things like that. So it's be a very eclectic channel in that regard.
But just off the top of my head, how about Mage's Media Wolf? I'm sure you'll get something better than that if we wait for people to submit some ideas. Oh.
But if you want to submit any ideas, you can go to the live stream I did during the Christmas marathon. Put ideas into the comment section there. Let me just get the link to that.
Okay. And of course, I'd like to thank the people who support us on Patreon, help me pay my internet bills. Skitscrasher, Kitty the Atheist, Robert X, Lavender Lady, Greg Hartwick, Southern Sail, and Vonrek SoulStrider. You know, it's even $1 a month. It helps cover things for me for anybody who cares to support me on Patreon. And thank you especially to all the people who helped make the Christmas marathon a success. We had whole messes of people helping with that. And, you know, not just the people who were watching streams, but all the people from the side chat that were, you know, putting their input into things, keeping things going. You know, it just gets better every year. So I appreciate all of you being with us. How did you become a submarine?
He's got a bunch of semen in him.
Possibly. I don't know Al's orientation. You know, I will assume straight because nothing else has been said, but I really don't have anything to base that on.
Oh boy. Oh, what a day it's been.
Wrote my next song. Okay. Well, congratulations on writing a song.
Oh, Al, we'd love to hear your song. Let us know where we can hear it.
I love
You
you.
can upload it.
Let's get together and, you know, have dinner and drinks and maybe a movie. Or maybe just, you know, recreation. Hey? Call me, babe.
Okay, well, thank you all. We'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Don't get caught.
Or if you do have a good alibi.